Hello and welcome to today's episode of Taekwondo Life Magazine Live. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis. I'm coming to you as part of our Olympic series. This is a follow-up to a very controversial story and a controversial episode. I'm glad that we tried to report it as news with commentary on the issue in general, but without specific judgment on the athletes and the individuals. And that's the Olympic gender controversy in female boxing. What a crazy story. Things have changed, dramatic changes over the last 24 to 48 hours. Really interesting to see and interesting discussion. And I wanted to clarify all of it for you. But now, first, a word from our sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when you're done with all that, you can head over, stay up all night playing online casino games of blackjack, poker, or 150 slot games. Head over to the website today, betonline.ag, to get into the action. Use the promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit of up to 250. That's because you're listening to this show and we are a part of the Believe Network. Bet online, the game starts here. Okay, so let's talk about this. We did a story. The story was about the athlete uh, alleged to be transgender athlete. Were supposedly two, but there were one in Maine, Khalifa of Algeria, how she defeated Angela Carini in the first 46 seconds of the round. Carini was leaving boxing. There was a whole discussion of the fact that she shouldn't have been allowed to fight because she's transgender. She was born a man, and so on and so forth. It raised an entire issue. We talked about that issue to some level. We said obviously you can't blame the athlete. There was a lot of confusion over the rules because of the change from the Russians overseeing boxing to the IOC seeing it directly. There was some indication, and this is where the information came from. This is why, is it fake news? Isn't it fake news? I don't believe that it came from a straight smear campaign, but there had been some failed testosterone tests by this athlete, which had disqualified her previously. But here's the issue. She was born a woman. She's a woman. There's no indication. Now, the first indication that I saw of this, the first person I saw jump out is a British Olympic athlete and boxer, Tony Jeffries, posted a picture of her as a little girl saying it's wrong. He was familiar with her. She's always fought as a woman. She's always been a woman, and that she's not transgender. That's a shock. Again, I think news agencies should have done a better job. The IOC should have done a better job. The IOC never came out until now to say that. What the IOC said is this lawyering. She meets all of the criteria to be an Olympic athlete, right? And we even commented on it that it was really very leading or misleading for them to raise that issue and just say that because it didn't speak to the underlying issue. Now for a word from our sponsor. We're back. Okay. And for those of you on video, if I do that, it's for our audio podcast. We have sponsorship there. If it doesn't play here, I apologize if it seems a little bit confusing. But so now the issues have come out all over the internet. And while the Italian government has protested the match, and now the discussion has changed dramatically from whether or not transgender people should be able to be allowed in women's sports or in the sport different from the biology that they were born with. That's not the case here. And we didn't really take a position on it other than that the rules should be clear on this. But apparently what the issue is that this athlete has a hormone issue. a medical issue. So the question really should only be in my mind: is this person in any danger when it comes to them fighting? The fact that she may or may not have a hormone issue is something that is medical and biological, but it doesn't speak to the issue of gender. So to some degree, the fact that she's a very powerful and gifted boxer and devastates her opponents makes her no different than Mike Tyson was on the male side, right? Um, but the fact of the matter is that all of these memes, and I even saw memes of Mike Tyson dressed as a woman, are all ill placed. And the IBA and the IOC's feud over running boxing created this controversy, and it should have been shut down immediately. So the fact of the matter is, Angela Carini actually has come out and apologized for, not that she really said anything that was so terrible, but she has apologized to this athlete, because the fact of the matter is that this athlete is won fair and square. Now, Italy's Giorgia Meloni came out and said that it wasn't a fair fight, and this is a very right-wing prime minister, and athletes that have genetically male characteristics shouldn't be allowed to compete. I'm not really sure what that means, because it doesn't apply in this situation. So the victory is the victory. We'll see as she goes on to fight further. The Algerian Olympic Committee defended the athletes, saying, again, I understand that they're attacking her dignity, they're attacking her person. She's probably received all sorts of hate. She's done nothing wrong. She has something known as sexual development disease. Again, that is part of why she had tested higher for testosterone. But it's a disease of women, where women produce testosterone. It's not a male disease. She's a woman. So she qualifies. Again, we mentioned that she did fight before. She fought in the 2020 Olympics, but she lost. And we will deal with understanding a little bit more about this. For our perspective, we will be a little bit less likely, not to say that we wouldn't have reported the story as quickly as we did, because it is a big story and we wanted to get it out there. We perhaps would have left a little bit more room for speculation. We tried to be open about it. We were glad to report this correction on it. No one should face hate or animosity for living their life. And even the issue as to whether she was transgender or not, our big issue is that the rules need to be clear on these things. They need to be specified. They need to be thoughtful for the safety and fairness of all athletes. In sport, in competition, there's always going to be someone that's better than you. And so long as they're not using unfair advantage, such as chemical enhancers, hormone drugs, things of that nature, the fact that they're better is just a part of life and competition. So we'd love to hear your feelings. We'd love to hear your feelings on the corrections here. We'll watch out for it. As for the other athlete from Taipei, that person is transgender, and we're curious to see how that plays out, or if there's any difference as it relates to watching that. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis. I look forward to seeing you on the mat. This is Taekwondo Life Magazine.